So I had this dream this morning, and I need to go ahead and record it because I didn't record it until now. In the dream, it was, I don't know what this was. The dream did not tell me that it was another dimension. It looked like another dimension, but the dream didn't tell me that. That's why I didn't record it right away, because I was like, what world was this? Because it wasn't this world. In the dream, I was like a teenager. I was like a, smaller child. And it definitely wasn't this world. I think it was just a symbolic dream. Anyway, I had a job, and my job was really far from my house. And in the dream, I lived with my parents, and we were poor, and I could not afford to go to work with a car. And most people didn't have cars. It was showing that most people was poor. And so I had to take the bus, and most people took the bus. So I went and took the bus to go to work, and my job was really far from the house. I had to pass through this bridge that was over this body of water, and it was quite a distance. And in the dream, it felt like I really was on this distance, and I just got on the bus and went to work. The bus stopped, it stops to pick people up, and it picked up Joe Biden. And Joe Biden got on the bus, and he was trying to act like he was so sweet and nice. And he got on the bus with some people, though, not by himself, like with his bodyguards or whatever. And he had press there, too. And he was acting like he was one of us, and he just loved the people, wanted to be with us and stuff. And I was looking at him in a dream, and I was saying to myself, he is so fake. And I was saying, I'm not engaging with him at all. And he was at the front of the bus, and I would sit towards the back, not all the way in the back, but maybe like 3 or 4 rows from the back, maybe about 4 rows from the back. And I didn't engage with him at all. A lot of people was going up to him. He was like touching people's shoulder, touching their hand and stuff like that. And I was just looking at him in disgust, like, he is so fake. And as I was looking at him, I had a premonition. I said, him and Obama are about to bomb. They're about to release a bunch of bombs. I'm hesitating because I'm sitting here realizing I've seen something similar to this in the past. I got to discuss that in the end. I hope I don't forget. Anyway, I said they're about to release a whole bunch of bombs. I just perceived it, and I was looking at him like, they about to release all these bombs. So anyway, I went on and got to work. It stopped at my stop, and that's what he got off too, because in the dream I worked at some really big industry. That's why I say this was a symbolic dream. It was like this really big industry place, and he worked there as well, but not with me. Like, how can I say that? Like, this place had a whole bunch of different buildings. It was like I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how you have like a warehouse, and then you have like a factory. You have, different apparatus that's building things. It was just like this industrial place, and it was massive. So we didn't work in the same building at all. Like, his building was separate from mine. But I think this whole setup just represented the world, just represented like different people in the world doing our different jobs. Like, I work for God and just doing different jobs. And so anyway, we went to our separate jobs, and then I went to his building to visit him and tell him and Obama that I knew what they was up to. So I went up there, and they had some kind of high up executive office. It was this massive office, massive decks and everything. And I went in there, and I said, I know what you all are doing. You're planning to release a whole bunch of bombs on the people and kill millions of people. That this is what you're planning. I think I said millions. Don't quote me on that, but I might have just said a lot of people. And they looked at me in shock, like, she knows. And I was like, I'm going to tell people what you're doing. Like, I was like, I'm going to tell everybody. And then I turned around and left and went back to my job. And then I was shown in a dream them talking after I left. And they was wondering what to do about me. They was like, should we, address her? Should we get her? Whatever. And then they said to each other, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she knows, because we about to release this right now. They was like, we releasing this today. That's what they was saying. We releasing this today. So it doesn't matter what she knows. So I went on to work, and then I caught the bus, and it was just showing like I was so young. and I needed to get back home. And I didn't know when they was going to do it. I just perceived that they was going to do it. And I got on the bus to go home, and all of a sudden they released the bombs, and it was all these bombs as it showed me like they was in different locations, and massive bombs, and even on the bus. And that's one thing they did do. They targeted this one bus. They already had the bombs set there. Like, these bombs was already planted underground, like in the ground. And wait until you guys hear, because as I'm sitting here talking, I've had this same type of, I'm in shock right now, because I didn't even record this right away. I went and talked to my daughter about it, because I was like, I don't know what kind of dream that is. And then, because I said it wasn't another dimension, but now as I'm sitting here talking, I'm realizing I've had the same dream. You guys got to check out that other dream I had. But anyway, they had already had these bombs planted, but they waited for the bombs to go off until this point where I was over this bridge, because they wanted to make sure I died. And so the bomb went off, and sure enough, it threw the bus back. It damaged the whole front of the bus. I would sit like maybe 3 or 4 rows from the back, and the people in the front was blown back, and I saw that some of them died and some of them was just critically injured, and the bridge was taken out. And it was just a mess. And I was looking like all these people died, and I survived. They didn't. And I knew, I had an instant knowing that they was trying to kill me, but it didn't work. And I still had to get home. Like in the dream, I was like, I got to get home. Now, how am I going to get home? Because now with all these explosions going off, because when I got off, like, it didn't take out the whole bridge. And when I got out off the bridge, the part that we was on was still intact. Like, it blew up the part that we was driving into. And so I got off on the bridge, and I looked, and I saw all these bombs going off everywhere. And I was like, okay, so how am I going to get home now? And I knew I had to go down to the ground level. I got down there some kind of way, because the scene switched, and I was down on the ground level. And I was thinking, I wonder, are any other buses running with all of these, explosions? They probably not running. And then to my surprise, I looked and I saw buses were still running, because I was thinking to myself, if I have to walk home, that's going to be a really long walk. And so the buses were still running. I was shocked, and I was like, okay, well, let me catch this bus. And I caught the bus, and I was telling him that I need to get to my house, and I was telling him where my house was. And I think I said that it was past 13th Street. I think I said I got to get past 13th Street. Something like that. Don't quote me on that, but I think I said something like that. Then the guy, he said, well, come on, you can catch this bus until you get to this one particular stop, and then you catch your bus from there. And so then I went, and he dropped me off, and this was broad daylight. Like, this whole dream was broad daylight. When these bombs went off, it was broad daylight. And so anyway, he dropped me off at my stop, and it was this bus stop that was huge. It was all these seats, because like I said, the majority of people was poor. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, most of the time you see a bus stop and it's just one bench, but it wasn't just one bench. And it was enclosed, like, in case it would rain or snow or anything. It was like this covering, like this clear covering. And it was just row after row after row of benches, like something you would see at a train station or something almost, but more advanced, I guess. But anyway, I noticed it was hardly nobody there, because a lot of people died and was probably caught up in all the explosions and everything. So it was just me, and this one man was there, this African-American man with his son, waiting on the bus. And all these buses kept coming and leaving, and I wouldn't get on them, because like I said, I was young. In the dream, I was like a teenager, or even younger than that even. I was real innocent like. And I was just looking at this man with his son, and I was going to catch whatever bus they got on. And so then I went and was just looking at them, and they weren't catching the other buses, so I didn't catch the other buses. And then they finally went to get on this bus, and I went to get on the bus with them, and it was a number 11 bus. And I said, well, do you go past, I think I said past 13th Street. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I said. And he said, no, this bus takes you back. And he pointed in the area, and I said, well, that's where I just came from. I don't want to go back there. And it was a number 11 bus. And I said, oh, no, I'm not catching this bus, because they was going back in the direction that was bad. And I was looking at them like, why would they go there? It's bad. Like, it's chaos. It's explosions and horror and everything. And the bus driver said to me, you need the Fremont bus. He either said Fremont or Freeport. He might have said Freeport. one of them was Free something or Freeman. He might have even said Freeman. One of them, y'all. I don't know. It was Freeman or Freeport or Fremont, something like that. But he said, I need this free bus, right? And he said, you need that bus, and it's going to take you where you're trying to go. And I was the only one at the bus stop waiting to go for that bus. And so I said to myself, wow, all these other buses already passed. I wonder if I missed it. And so he left with them. And then the very next bus that came was my bus. It was this like free bus, like for free man or Fremont or something like that. So anyway, I got on the bus and I asked him, I said, did you go past 13th Street? Just making sure I got on the right bus. And he said, yes, this is the right bus. So I got on it, and he was really nice. This bus driver could have been representative of the Lord. Wow, I didn't even think of that, because I've had many dreams of a bus driver that was the Lord. And so anyway, I got on this bus and we went on this, he was taking me home, and it was other people on the bus. When I got on the bus, it was other people on it. And it was showing me, the dream started showing me that everything was really like, how can I say this? It was like things was ran by machines, like robotic machines. Like we had to stop at this stop sign because this giant, it was these giant robotic machines, and they was doing some kind of work where they was building these buildings. It was a set of apartment buildings that they was building. I was wondering to myself if the buildings was really cheaply made, and I noticed that they were not. I was looking at them in detail, and I said, oh, these are really nice bricks. They was making the bricks. These machines was making the bricks and everything there, and it was making them almost like they look like stone. It was really high up material, really thick. And I was really shocked by, like, wow, that's good material. And it was just these giant machines, you guys. I can't even explain it to you. It's hard to even explain what I saw. And I saw them like wrapping this, like there was this machine and he was like wrapping around the building. It was that big. They could wrap around the whole building and just put this material on there. And it was like boom, boom, boom. And I said to myself, because I had been taking this bus route a while, I guess. And I said, they just started building this. I was like, it couldn't have been even a month. I was like, they started building it. Like I even said a month or months ago. And I was like, wow, this is already almost completely done. And it was just showing these giant machines. And it did show some people that worked there who was like inspectors that was like inspecting things. But it showed how little people they had working because of these giant machines. So anyway, I went past the industrial part where they was making these buildings. And the bus driver dropped me off on my stop to get home. And my parents they was African American, and a mother and a father. And they were so sweet and so nice. Very nice and friendly. Couldn't wait for me to get home. And that could have been representative of the Lord. I really don't know. But anyway, I got off and I was about to go into the house to meet them. And the dream ended. But I want to say this, like, I have had another dream as well, which I'm shocked. This is coming to me as I'm talking, where God showed me. It was after the shift change. And I didn't understand that. I will put the dream in the description box if I can find it. It was really early, like towards the beginning of my ministry, I think. And I didn't understand anything about the 144,000. I didn't at that time. I didn't understand anything about the shift change. I didn't understand a lot of things. So when I had this dream and it was some kind of shift that happened, I was like so confused. So I interpreted that dream completely wrong. It was so funny. It was so funny. I totally disregard my interpretation of that dream. Okay, totally disregard it. It was so bad. But I did see that it was some kind of shift, and I had super abilities, and I could fly up to Jesus like it was nothing. And I noticed that it wasn't that many people. Like after I knew a lot of chaos and things had happened, and I'm probably saying more now than I said back then. Because I probably didn't say some of this stuff because I really didn't understand this dream at all. And I think when you don't really understand a dream, like the old me, I would get really hesitant to say some things because I was like, I don't know what this means. I remember this dream, and I remember it was something very catastrophic that happened and killed a lot of people. And there were not that many engineers, and people left. And so they was desperate to get him, and they sought me out. I probably left that completely out of my dream. And they sought me out, even me, you know, a person they blacklisted, because it wasn't many people left to work. They had acquired these giant machines to do work for them instead of having to rely on people so much. And this is the second time, at least the second time I've been shown this, that they planned for this time when it wasn't going to be that many people to have these giant machines. But in that dream, I was shown it was something, it was like a shift that happened, but I didn't say that because I didn't understand the shift. And things changed, and I had super abilities. And yeah, they just had these giant, I'm not going to say the whole dream. You can watch it. So I wanted to say that. And in the dream that I had, the other dream I was talking about that I remembered as I was talking is a dream I had about Antichrist Obama, and he was the Antichrist. He had already planted all these bombs in the ground. You guys got to hear that. I'm in shock. Even I want to go back and hear that. I'm in shock right now that I didn't realize that when I woke up. And he had already planted, like God literally showed me that they was already planted in the ground. Like, how can I explain this? You know how you have people working to do work in the ground, and they can hire different spies, or they can get like a foreman that really works for the Obama administration or something. And they're really, you know, these people don't know what they're putting in the ground. And I can say this because now my father has passed, but my father literally, this is one thing he told me when he was alive many years ago. My father was a electrician. I don't know if he was a foreman on this job or not, but he was an electrician. And he said, Shauna, I'm looking at this stuff they putting in these grounds. He said, this is cameras. He told me that clear as day. He said, these are cameras they putting in this ground. And he said, why are they putting cameras that shoot up and can look? And I said, wow, if they got technology like that, they can find anybody if they wanted to. And all these people, they say all these fugitives here and fugitives there, why don't they do something about it? But that is literally what he told me many years ago. I think that was even before I started my ministry. I knew that, but I couldn't say anything. My father was still alive, and I couldn't, you know, expose what he had told me. And I've had reports like that from other people as well. And I still won't say because, you know, they still among the living. I just don't discuss different things like that to put them in harm's way. And so anyway, he did tell me that. And the dream I had was like, you know, maybe he saw the camera part, but God showed me it was bombs. Like they had these bombs already planted in the ground. And this is the second time I've been shown that. And they was already there. And it was Obama and working with Biden. And that's probably why I saw Biden, because he's the current president of the United States. And I word it that way on purpose because he ain't my president, because my president is Jesus. But he's the president of the United States. Okay. Anyway. And they was going to release these bombs that was already planted. So yeah, I'll see if I can find that dream, put it in the description box, you guys. Yeah. And the last thing I want to say, which was a huge shocker to me, is what they said, like, oh, it doesn't matter if she tells anybody because we're about to do this right now. And that makes me think of my last video that I just released yesterday or early this morning, actually. But by the time I release this one, it might be the next day. I don't know. I got to do the graphics and everything, but I want to go ahead and release this one right away because I think it ties into that dream. Because it was like, they not worried about me telling people things. They was like, oh, it doesn't matter. We about to do this right now. So, you know, like, I think they said either right now or today. And it was like, oh, it's coming right now. Who cares what she says, you know? So yeah, you know, these things are happening. This is multiple times the Lord has shown me this. So anyway, I love you all so much. You know, let's stay prayed up. Let's stay in Christ. We're going to be protected. The Lord will keep us. You know, I'm not worried about that. Like in my other dream, I had this supernatural apartment. And as I was editing that video, I realized I had that dream. I put a note on the screen for those who read it. I had a dream similar to that like 3 years ago. Very similar. And God showed me in that dream I was supernaturally protected. So yeah, these things, you know, they may come and everything. And that was a symbolic dream. It doesn't mean it's going to actually happen that way, that I actually had to flee from my house or not. I'm praying to God that it doesn't go down that way. I'm like, Lord, you know, I've been preparing. I pray to God that I don't have to flee like that. So, and he gave my oldest daughter, I don't know when she's going to release this vision she had, But when I woke up, she told me about a vision she had, and I think it was giving evidence that that's not how it's gonna happen for me, but it was just symbolic. And I'm not saying it's not gonna happen like that for me, but I want to be prepared either way. Let's be prepared. Anyway, I love you all. Bye. God bless you.